guys. All right, all right, all right. All right, all right. Listen, I wanted to I want to make this point, okay? I really want to try to make this point as clear as possible here. All right? how do I start off with? Okay. So we're going to say this, okay? There's the good mud, remember? There's the good mud. Then there's the bad mud. And somewhere in between the two is going to be what really happened here, right? The truth, I guess you can call that. Maybe not. That's not an eloquent way of putting that, but you get my point, right? However, guys, and for this channel in my garden, all right? Our garden, we have to, and I know it's a pain in the ass, but we have to stick within the confines of what we know to be true in this case already by the documents, right? By what we see that's written, what's in the orders and all the nonsense in that, okay? We have to stick within the confines, all right? I'm not saying that these other offshoots don't have merit. They have merit. A lot of them do have merit. Okay, and some are just bad mud, just bad mud. That's all you can describe it as. Just aliens, right? Aliens. Again, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I was talking about yesterday and get pissed off about. Then we go into that, and then we go in. Do you really want to do that? I don't want to do that. I'll entertain ideas. And I'll entertain other theories. But guys, we have to stick within the confines of what's already there in the record. In the record. Because it doesn't matter how wonderful our alternate theories are. If it's not in the record, it doesn't matter. Because that's not what the trial is going to be about. So just keep that in mind. I'm not here to lecture or nothing like that. Okay, that's definitely not what I'm doing. But when it comes to the trial, okay, which again is going to be delayed in my opinion because I'm a psychic, right? It's going to be delayed. All right? And what we're seeing now swirling around in the documents is that it's a strong possibility that this trial is definitely going to be pushed back, baby. Pushed back. And again, I pegged this earlier, way earlier, that it's going to be in October. And that may be, now that I'm seeing the swirls that I'm seeing, that may be totally wrong, but I'm sticking with that. I'm just sticking with October, baby, until I'm proven wrong. Yes, I believe there's going to be delay, and yes, I believe it's going to be pushed back to October. And if it turns out I'm wrong, guess what? I'm wrong. But guess what? You got to remember this also, guys. In the psychic world, that's an ancient rule. Psychics can be wrong, right? It's ludicrous, but that's the way psychics operate, aren't right? Just like all the other, okay. All right. So I just want to, I guess the ultimate point of this is I wanted to separate certain things. So I wanted to separate our wonderful theories and speculations, okay? But we have to play within the confines, though, ultimately, of what is in the records. Because that's what the trial is going to be. Do you understand? That's my point, okay? In the trial, we're not going to see stuff about the AK Brotherhood. We're not going to see any of that. We're not going to see any of those lovely theories that you have out there. That's not going to be in the trial. And we have to stick with what we know. All right? And yeah, Separately from that, though, we can play around, right? We can play. But I want you to remember, though, the foundation, though. You have to keep the foundation in perspective. And the foundation is what's already in the documents. That's your foundation. Not the brotherhood, okay? Not, and I'm guilty of this too, guys. I'm not saying I'm not guilty of this. I have my own theory that, is not necessarily going to be trial related either. So I'm guilty too. But at least I just don't want us to lose sight of what the foundation of this whole thing is. And the foundation of this whole thing is always going to be found in what is in the documents. Always. Always. Until we learn other things and new things that come out in the documents, do you know what I'm saying? I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to get at here. I just want our garden to have a strong foundation, okay? And that foundation is going to lie within the case documents, guys. I'm not saying that our theories and speculations and opinions aren't valid. They are, okay? But you got to keep sight of if we're going to be, again, if you're going to be in the mud, it has to be the good kind of mud, not the nonsense. Not, again, they were all machine gunned down at the fire hydrant, right? And then they all ran across the band field in a waiting black big ass truck to drive them off to the getaway land. Do you know what I'm saying? That is not this channel. That is not this fucking channel, guys. Now, the theory, your comments, your theories, your speculations, fantastic. I love them. But I just want us to keep the foundation intact a little bit. That's all. We just got to keep the foundation in mind. And I know you guys are. I know you are. I'm not saying you're not, okay? But I just want to reiterate that foundation. All right? That's all. That's all, babies. That's all. What else? What else we got? So, yeah, you know what I mean? I can't do 1,000 videos on a goddamn grub truck. I just can't do it, guys. It hurts my eyeballs, for one. I mean, I tried watching a lot of the grub truck stuff, guys, and my eyes are just like, they're pleading with me to turn it off, And I wake up, my eyes are bleeding, for Christ's sake. You know what I mean? Like, how many blurry pictures can you stare at? I don't know. I can't. Now, unless somebody comes to me or emails me or something and has clear pictures of the victims posed in the house, well, okay. Well, fuck, I better take that seriously. Hell yeah, I will. Then that's serious, okay? If those pictures are real, first of all. But I'm just saying, show me some clear pictures. I don't want to see blurry images of fucking people looking at their phones. I can't do it anymore. I can't do it. Oh my God. But hey, I could do this. But this isn't our garden. It's not. All right. Now the other point of this is but then you say, well, Master Nature, then why do you play off your three other personalities, right? Well, that's to show you certain other things, okay? Yes, it's different. But it's real. All right. Because I am a psychic. And I do have spirit guides, by the way. That's just that is what it is, and that ain't gonna change, okay? You don't want me to sit here and talk for 30 minutes and drone on about fucking gee, what did this sentence mean in the motion in limine number 55? You don't want me to do that, and I don't want to do that either. I could do that, but I also like to be entertained. Christ, I don't want to be bored my ass off. But anyway, guys, I'm sorry. I guess the whole point of this was I just want our garden to remember what. Just keep sight of what the foundation is. That's all I'm asking. You know, that's all I'm saying about that. That's the whole point of this video. We got to keep sight of the foundation, and the foundation is always going to be found in what we already know, and what we already know is in the documents. And there's a ton more that we don't know because everything is fucking sealed. Most of look, if there's any more big puzzle pieces left in this case, they're sealed. They are sealed, they are sealed, and they are sealed. So whatever words come out of my mouth or anybody else's mouth is just going to be the same speculation, the same theme of speculation. That's it. It's just done in a different way, okay? That's all. Now I'm not saying look, I'm not saying we don't talk about theory and other theories. I don't mind. Again, that's not what I'm saying. I just want us to keep sight of what the foundation is. Okay? That's all. Because that's what we're going to see in the trial. We're not going to see any of the other stuff. We're not going to see anything in this trial about the Aryan Knight Brotherhood. We're not. We're just not. We are not. We're not going to see anything about Mexican, substance cartels. And we're not going to see anything about people hanging from bridges. And we're not going to see anything about, aliens coming down in their starship and abducting the victims. We're not going to see anything like that in the trial, guys. So if you feel that Brian Koberger is innocent, okay, if you feel that he is definitely innocent in this case, then we have to stick, and it's a pain in the ass. It really is, because we all have really wonderful imaginations, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. It's a beautiful human trait. But we gotta how about this? We gotta premeditate, guys, what we're gonna see in the trial. That is the signpost to new space, baby. That's for all you Jerry Garcia freaks out there, by the way. That's our signpost, okay? That's going to lead us in the right direction. So we need to premeditate what we're going to see in the trial, what we're actually going to see play out. Now, being a psychic, guys, I'm telling you, we're not going to see any of this other stuff. It's just not there. It's not in the records. It's not anywhere. The closest we're going to get to any of that, if we do actually see this, is the alternative perpetrators. That's the closest we're going to get. Period. If this corrupt potato of a judge considers enough, yes, there's enough there to say this is valid. This argument is valid from the defense. And based on his rulings before, I don't know, because he's a goddamn prick. All right? He needs to go back, to traffic court, but whatever, that's a whole other shit show. Yeah. So, but anyway, that's the closest we're going to get to our alternative theories, is the alternative perps. That's the closest we're going to get. But, again, who knows if that's going to come up. I hope that we get to see this, because, yes, the lone wolf didn't do this. There's no such thing as the lone wolf. The lone wolf is a myth in this case. I firmly believe that. Now, am I playing within the confines? Not really. No, I guess not, because he's the one on trial. Okay, but there's strong evidence to suggest that there are alternative perpetrators. The defense has put that out there, and they're building their own case. All right? And they have much more information than anybody else does. I don't have that. You don't have that information. You know, opera singers don't have that information. You know, whoever, they don't have that information. Okay? They may make you think they do or make it seem like they have some big bomb to drop on you, but they don't. So, all right. So even myself, and that, you know what? That's a good point. Even myself, I have to remember the confines of what is actually in the record. Okay? But, and, you know, I feel the good mud in my theory with this is there's no such thing as the lone wolf. It's impossible. It's an impossibility based on what we already know. And that is what we call the good mud. Okay? Now, if we start talking about machine guns and people gunning down people by fire hydrants, I mean, what do you want? What are you going to do with that? Right? Because again and again and a fucking again, it's going to take you down a million different alleyways that don't exist. Okay? Maybe in New Orleans, but not in this case. So just remember that when you're watching somebody who has like 50,000 fucking views and they're talking about people hanging from bridges in Mexico, that's great, but it has nothing to do with this case. All right, anyway, just wanted to talk about a foundation. That's it, babies. I love you guys. I love you all. Tyrone is still at bingo, by the way. So I'm waiting for him to get back to tell me what's going on. He'll get back to me for sure. You know, I can you know, in my well, I know when my spirit guides are around, by the way. I don't know if you knew that, but I know when they're around. I can sense them. I haven't sensed MD in a little bit. I think MD is really I think he's on the verge of retiring because he feels you guys don't like him. So I don't know. I don't have the energy to really do an intervention with him right now, guys. I really don't. Well, and Stanley is getting to you very shortly, I promise. Stanley is, well, here's what Stanley is doing right now. Stanley is he's been studying his notes about himself. Yeah, he does that a lot, actually. Well, that's Stanley, okay? But he is going to get to you very, very soon. And, yeah. But then again, I did have Stanley put away until the garden's like, hey, I told you. Anyway, Stanley will get to you pretty soon enough. All right. Anyway, we're going to do one more. And I'm sure we're going to get an update on how bingo went. Oh my God, guys. Every Tuesday night, guys, it's an absolute disaster. I mean, I have to play the role of, I don't know, of like, what do you call it? I have to play the role of like, a consoling friend. You know, that's the role I have to play every Tuesday night. But I hope tonight is different. I really do. All right, I love you all, babies. We'll talk later. Bye-bye.